So the issue here is about competitive advantage. Now, before we start competitive advantage, I've always been telling you something that when it comes to the ICA textbook, always look at the exam context, right? It is the exam context that ICA sets their questions from. So all this exam context that you see are all mechanisms for setting your exam questions. Are we okay?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah. So I always, anytime we start every topic, I ask you to write the exam context down. So kindly put this down, right? So these are the things that we have to look at. These are the areas we have to look at. So kindly put them down quickly. Just write them down and then let's proceed. Just write them down and let's proceed. If you are done, you tell me.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So you see, if you look at the exam context, it says what? Businesses need to establish a strategy for achieving and subsequently sustaining competitive advantage. And this chapter looks at the different options of how to achieve and sustain competitive advantage and hence make adequate returns over the long term. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to describe the two factors. You see, these are particular questions. So ICA can ask you, what two factors affect profitability when aiming to achieve competitive advantage? And this is a full question, okay, where you talk about the two factors that can help you achieve competitive advantage. And this will be 8 marks, right? 8 solid marks. You see how the questions are derived. And we should be able to explain how the Bowman strategic clock can be applied to help establish an appropriate price versus perceived benefit mix. Because I tell you one thing, that between you and your competitor, you, the company, and your competitor, the only difference between your product and services is the price that you give, right? But for the customer and you, the difference is value, right? The value or the perceived benefit that the customer gets from you. That's why when you look at the company's value chain, we say that at the end of the day, it should be able to provide value in terms of margin, right? To the customer is value, and to you it is the margin, which is affected by the price that you set for that product. Are we okay? So we are saying that yes, if you are looking at the general strategies, which are whether you are going low cost or you are coming with premium or differentiated features, from the customer's perspective, he is not necessarily looking at only the features, and the cost, but he's also looking at the benefits he's going to get from the best combination of price and then features, right? So that's what the customer looks at for. Now, once we understand this, we must be able to summarize Porter's generic strategies and differentiate between cost leadership, differentiation, and focus strategies. And we should also look at how the different types of collaborations are used in business to help generate competitive advantage, right? So there are 4 main areas, but as part of you looking at how to gain competitive advantage, we must also learn how to sustain competitive advantage, right? So it's not only about getting the competitive advantage, but you being able to also what? Sustain the advantage that you get. And how do you sustain this? By doing frequent marketing, by enhancing your value chain, by implementing lock-in strategies, by looking at your product positioning. How do you position your product in the market, right? We look at all these things to help us know how to position our products to be successful in the market, right? Okay. So competitive advantage, we first start by looking at the 2 factors that affect profitability. Now, there are 2 factors that affect how you gain competitive advantage, right? It starts with what? Your industry structure and the competition within the industry. So this is influenced by the 5 forces, right? So we said Porter used the 5 forces model to explain factors that affect competition. And anytime you're assessing competitive advantage, you must know your strategic position first, know where you are. How is your competition like? How is your environment like? And how can you use the opportunities and threats there to gain a competitive advantage, right? And also, after looking at the industry, you must simmer down to the level of the individual company and look at what? How to achieve what? Sustainable competitive advantage, right? How do you create value for customers, even at the expense of what? The position you are in. So when we look at 2 factors that affect your profitability, what are they? 1, the industry structure and the competition. That's your 5 forces analysis and what you identified. And 2, at your individual level, what resources and competencies do you actually have, right? In simple terms, how do you create a sustainable competitive advantage? How do you create value for your customer? And this one can be easily identified from your value chain. Are you getting it? Or your tools for diagnosing strategic capability. You can also use a resource audit, okay, which you can also use the Viro framework to also check how you are able to what, grant value or give value to your customer at that level. So please keep these things in mind. Your industry structure and the nature of competition, and also how to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. That is derived from your strategic capability. Is that okay? So I hope you've written that down. 2 factors that affect your competitive advantage, or that create competitive advantage, or that affect profitability. Is that okay? Have you put it down? Can we move?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at value and competitive advantage. Now, companies and other business entities in a competitive market should seek to gain an advantage over their competitors, okay? So as explained in earlier chapters, competitive advantage means doing something better than your competitors and offering customers better value. So having some competitive advantage over your rival firms is essential. Without it, there's no reason why customers should buy the company's product instead of the product of a competitor. So essentially, competitive advantage arises from the customer's perception of value for money. So how does the customer perceive what you are giving him? So remember, it all starts with quality. Quality to you is different from quality to me, right? So the value that the person perceives is what we call what? Value to the customer, or the perceived benefit he's getting from that product or service. Now, value was explained in the chapter on the value chain and value networks. The key point to understand is that value comes from either a low price or features of the product, or the way it is made available to the customers. So both real and imagined. Whether I'm imagining that this is the feeling I'm getting from the product, or it's a real feeling I'm getting, right? That can make a customer willing and able to pay for that price. Or it could be a combination of price and product features that gives the best value to a group of customers in the market, right? So you must know that value is determined by the perception or opinion of the customers. You may see this and say, oh, this food is nice, it's palatable. Somebody may say it is not. Okay, value to people are always different because of the perception or the opinion that people carry, right? So a combination of price and product features that gives the best value to one customer might not give the best value to another, because the customers have different perception of value. True or false?
True.
Yes. Now, how do we select business strategies for competitive advantage? Since there are different perceptions of value, companies have to make a strategic decision about how they will try to offer value and gain competitive advantage, okay? Now, companies decide their corporate strategy and the combination of portfolio of businesses, okay? So all the time, when you're looking at your corporate strategy, you must look at how you are going to combine your different kind of strategic business units or your different kind of products, right? That you want to sell or the kind of market you want to go in. That is where you look at your product and market. Then you must know how to compete, right? So you must then select one or more of the business strategies that will enable you to succeed in the chosen product market. So these products you are sending to the market, how then do we compete there? Okay, so you must first know the business, then you must know how to compete, right? So there are several approaches for identifying and choosing business strategies, and that is what we'll be discussing now. So we are going to start first with the most suitable model, okay, at your level, because this one is more around the company and the customer. This is mostly likely. The generic strategies also come, but this is an evolving, right? An evolving approach or a more customer-centric approach, a more marketing-based approach. Okay, this is a modern style. The old one was focused on the company. This is focused on the customer. Okay, because a customer always looks at the mix of the product or the service, right, and the features that he gets that creates value to him. So the two factors in providing value to customers are the price of the product or service and the benefits that customers believe the product or service provides to them. Now, competitive advantage comes from offering an attractive combination of price and perceived benefits. The strategic clock was suggested by Bowman in 1996 as a way of looking at the combinations of price and perceived benefits that companies give to their customers or customers think they get from those products. That's why I tell you it's opinionated, right? Companies should consider which combination of the two they should try to offer. Although to do this, they must also understand the perception of customers about the benefit that the product or service provides. Companies can also use the strategic clock to assess the business strategies of competitors and the combination of price and benefits that they are offering. So the whole thing is you are looking at the combination of price and benefits that you can offer or that the customer thinks they can get from you, or what your competitors are doing. What best combination of price are they putting together, right? Always remember this and you should be fine. Now, in exam, they may always require you. I told you, anytime you are asked a strategic model in your exam, you always need to draw it if it has a diagram. Please remember this. There's always marks between 1 to 3 marks, sometimes up to 5 marks allocated to the diagram. Make sure you do not forget. If it has a diagram, make sure you draw. Sometimes they may ask you specifically to draw the diagram. If they don't, you still need to put it down and highlight it, right? You need to summarize the various details that you can see within the model. Now, the strategy clock has 2 dimensions, the price and the perceived benefits. We say we are actually looking at the best combination of both, right? So price can be shown on a scale ranging from low to high. So it could be low, medium, high. Then similarly, perceived benefits can be shown on a scale of low to high as well. So the clock consists of a series of business strategies, and each business strategy is shown as the hand of a clock, pointing in the direction of a combination of price and perceived benefits. Now, each business strategy has a different combination of price and perceived benefits as well, where customers have different requirements in terms of their value for money. The different positions on the clock also represent a set of generic business strategies for achieving competitive advantage. So there can be any number of different business strategies, each with its own combination of price and perceived benefits. However, the different business strategies can be grouped into. So we have 5 business strategies that might enable you to gain a competitive advantage. So there are 8 in total, but 5 can enable you to gain competitive advantage, and the 3 are likely to fail. Remember that anything that has a high price and a low benefit is destined for failure. True or false? Anything that has a high price and a low benefit, is it not destined for failure?
Yeah, it's destined for failure.
Because at the end of the day, the price is too high than the benefit you are getting. So you are not likely to buy, right? So those strategies that fall here are failure strategies. They are bound to fail. Okay, so let's look at how the clock looks like. This is how the strategic clock looks like. Okay, so I prefer, in exam, you might forget. So I like it like this, right? Low, medium, high, low, medium, high, so that it makes more sense, right? So you are saying that when there's a combination of low perceived benefit and a low price, you get what we call a no-frills price. Okay? when there's a medium perceived benefit, are you getting it? And a low price, it creates a low price, right? When there's a high perceived benefit and a low price, it causes a hybrid strategy. Okay, so it's a medium price. It's around a medium price. So low perceived benefit with a medium price, it creates a hybrid strategy. When you have a high perceived benefit and a medium price, it creates a differentiation strategy. Okay, when you come here, it's a high what? Perceived benefit. Okay, high perceived benefit with what? A medium here will be around medium because high is around the same. So medium perceived benefit with what? A high price. It's a focus differentiation. Okay. Then you have what strategies that will fail. So anything here is showing a low benefit, right? Anything here is showing a low benefit, but you see that the price is high. Can you see? Can you see?
Yes.
So all these strategies, risky margins, and all that, they are destined for failure. Okay. So these strategies are destined for failure. So let's look at these strategies in turn. So in exam, instead of trying to look at them individually, just know the strategies that it starts with low frills, right? Low frills, low, not so. Then it comes to what? Low price, which is what? Medium, low, not so.
Yeah.
Hybrid, not so.
Yes.
What? Differentiation. Focus differentiation. Okay. Then 6, 7, 8 are failure strategies.
Low benefit.
Okay. The benefits are low. So just know the strategies. Even if you don't know the medium, don't bring medium, but just know what they mean. That's all. In exam, you are just going to be identifying what somebody was doing or what somebody is going to do, right? So can we go? Can we take
Yeah.
them? So let's see. So using a strategy clock. Now, a strategy clock can be used to consider different business strategies for gaining competitive advantage based on providing a combination of price and perceived benefits. The case study in your exam might ask you to suggest a suitable business strategy for a company. Okay, so there are 3 types of questions that I tell you that in strategic case study you get. One is answering the scenario question, right? So where the answer is already in the scenario, they can ask you from what the company is doing, what strategy are they using, right? That means the answer is in the scenario. The second type of question is what we call what? A what do you think type of question, right? So when I say what do you think type of question, it means that something has happened and they are asking you to either suggest something, right? What do you think? Suggest or recommend something. And you see here, that's what the examiner is telling you that, okay, the exam might what? Ask you to suggest a suitable business strategy. Do you see? So that is the common type of question that you are likely to get, mostly for around this area, right? It is going to ask you to suggest a suitable strategy. I hope that is okay. So remember, they will ask you to suggest the third type of question, which it can come in any form, right? That is theory-based type of question. That means that that question is purely theory. okay, theory or knowledge-based. And these are the kind of questions that you should be expecting. Now, the strategy clock might be a useful basis for making an analysis, like looking at the business strategies of competitors and what a company must do to find an appropriate combination of price and perceived benefit that it should offer to customers. So 5 broad groups of business strategy that might succeed are the no frills, which is position 1. We have position 2, low price. We have high differentiation. We have hybrid and a focus strategy. Okay, so at least know these 5, write these 5 down. If this thing pops up, then you must know how to explain them or what it means. Okay, subsequently, we'll take a case of a Nigerian airline, and then we are going to see, you are going to tell me what strategy might be appropriate to that particular entity. Okay, that is how these models do work. I hope that is okay. Are you putting it down so that we take it one by one? If you are done, you tell me. Shall we proceed?
Yes, please.
So let's take the first one. No frills strategy, which is position 1 on the clock. Now, a no frills strategy is to offer a product or service at a low price and with low perceived benefit. Now, we do this to attract customers who are price conscious and are happy to buy a basic product at the lowest possible price. Do you know some people are naturally like that? They don't care about the value. So far as it meets their need, even if it is low in price, even if the value is not that much, they know that, yes, they are paying something low for that amount. True or false? So they just want a basic product. They don't want any excess features or something like that. They just want the basic products that they can get, right? To do what they want to do. That's all. When people are looking for well-designed diary, somebody may just get a normal notebook, right? And use it for his diary. True or false? Because that's the nature of the consumer. So this strategy has been used by low-cost airlines, which offer a basic service for a low price. Now, with a no-frills strategy, customers understand that they are buying a product or service that gives them fewer benefits than rival products or services in the market. So the person himself knows that what he is buying is a basic product, so it should come with a basic or small price, right? Okay, are we okay with that? The second one is what we call a low price strategy. Now, it's on position 2 of the clock. Now, with a low price strategy, customers perceive that the product or service gives average or normal benefits. Okay, so the benefit is like medium to high, right? It's average or normal benefits, not low like the low frills. So it is not regarded as a low quality product. So the price, however, is low compared with similar products on the market, but it is a bit better than the low frills. Okay. Only the lowest cost producer in the market can implement this business strategy successfully. If a company that is not the least cost producer try to implement a low price strategy, there will be a continual threat that the least cost producer will copy the same strategy and often offer prices that are even lower. So only the least cost producer will win such a price war, because at the end of the day, he's able to what? Coordinate his value chain in a way that he comes with what? Let's say a better negotiation with suppliers to get suitable raw material prices means your inbound logistics and your procurement is good. This can end you up having the lowest price on the market. And if you can bring these medium or normal benefits, then nobody can compete with you because you are the lowest cost producer. Do you understand?
But yeah, and so also I think they might produce in large scale. That will make their cost of production relatively low compared to the other competitors. And in this regard, customers will prefer that fine. Their benefit to the amount they are paying is average. So with that, and they are having that low price, they are okay and good with the product.
That is true. That is true. So that is it. So low price is not that low, but at least if the person is already operating in a low price market or a low cost market, or is a least cost producer, then it will be a sure banker for him, right? Easy peasy, because already that is what he's doing compared to other people on the market. Do you understand? But however, a low price strategy can be applied in segments or sections of the market. For example, supermarkets offer their own brand products at prices that are lower than similar branded goods. Customers shopping in a supermarket might buy the low price own brand goods rather than high price branded goods, which might be perceived as offering more benefits to customers, right? So that is it. So that's about low price. So in simple terms, what's the difference between the low frills and the low price? What's the difference between low frills and low price? What can you say is the difference between no frills and low price? Okay. Let's continue then. So let's look at position 3. This is supposed to be position 3, not position. Now, a combination of price and benefit, right? A higher than average benefit to customers and a below average selling price. It's a hybrid strategy. A hybrid strategy just combines your cost leadership to your differentiation strategy, right? It's a combination of those two strategies. That's why we call it what? A hybrid strategy. It means that there's a balance between cost or price and then what? Differentiation, okay? So a hybrid strategy involves selling a product or service that combines a higher than average benefit to customers and a below average what? Selling price. To be successful, this business strategy requires low cost production and also the ability to provide larger benefits. It tries to achieve a mix between what? A low price strategy and a differentiation strategy, as I said earlier. Then we come to what we call position 4, which is differentiation. So differentiation, the price is high. I get it. It commands a price premium because of the quality or the features that went into it, which comes, I get it, at a cost.
Okay.
So a differentiation, the reason is because the higher the risk, the higher the return. That's the nature of differentiation. Because if I'm putting in more, I expect the customer to, for instance, I'm using a specialized intangible asset, right? It will command a price premium, right? Than somebody who does not have a specialized brand name or a patent or something, right? So it commands a price premium. So a differentiation strategy is based on making a product or service appear to offer more benefits than rival products or services on the market. Companies try to differentiate their own particular products, make them seem different. So there are various ways in which what differentiation can be achieved. 1, products or services might have different features so that rival products do not offer exactly the same benefits. And 2, companies might also what promote the perception that their products or services are much better in quality. So we are looking at features and quality, right? So in the strategy club, a strategy of differentiation involves charging average prices for the product or service, or prices that are perhaps only slightly higher than average. Okay, so the strategy does not involve charging prices that are very much higher than average, but it can be a little above average, right? So customers therefore believe that they are getting more benefits for every CD that they spend. They know that, okay, if I am paying this much for a premium class, I'm getting something more beneficial, right? Something above what somebody in the normal class is going to get, right?
Yeah.
Example of differentiation strategy. I hope that makes sense.
Good.
Of course. So for every CD you spend, you are anticipating more benefits than what a regular person is going to get. Understood? So that is
yes.
It. Okay. So when it comes to a hybrid, the benefit is higher than average, but it has a below average selling price. But when it comes to differentiation, the price will be a little above the average. So that's the difference with higher benefits. Okay, so benefits should be high compared to hybrid, which is higher than average or below average. Makes sense. Then let's come to a focused differentiation. So with focused differentiation, yes, we are differentiating, but we are not differentiating in a broader market. We are differentiating by concentrating on a particular segment of the market.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
A
understand?
niche.
Yes, a niche. So this is actually a niche strategy. Okay, so it's to sell a product that offers an above average benefit for a higher than average price, but products in this category are often strongly branded as premium products so that their high price can be justified. So that is why not everybody can buy a Lamborghini or a Bentley. Not so.
So
They are branded specifically for a purpose as luxurious products that only some particular people can use them. So that's an example of focused differentiation strategy. So in Europe, gourmet restaurants and Ferrari sports cars are examples of products sold using this business strategy. In Ghana, an example of focused differentiation can be seen as soap making industry, right? Where premium brands sell at a higher price. Similarly, in Nigeria, a focused differentiation strategy exists in parts of the high fashion industry where some ranges of high quality fashion wear sell at very high prices. Everywhere we can find it, right? Even in classes, there are some, even in universities, there are some private universities that are very expensive, right? International schools, very expensive, that they focus only on the rich. True or false?
It's true.
Focus differentiation strategy, right? So these are the strategies that will succeed. So in exam, now I know you know the meaning, but in exam, sometimes you get confused about the position on the clock. So what you need to do is just remember what goes into position one. Position one, what goes there? No frills, right?
Yes.
Position two, what goes there?
That's low price strategy.
Position three, what goes there?
3 is hybrid.
Position four,
Differentiation.
differentiation. And then position five,
Focused differentiation.
for differentiation.
Is this when a question is being thrown to you that like business strategies, we know we have the normal business strategies, being the cost leader, differentiation, focus, and those ones.
Yeah.
This in particular, when they ask you a business strategy, are they referring to from the customer point of view or from the company's point of view?
If the company is not specific, if the examiner is not specific, you can say using strategies from the Bowman's clock, and then use these ones. They will still mark it for you. Or you can say using the generic strategies, then you give what cost leadership, not so.
No. Okay.
Leadership,
All right.
differentiation, focus. But you know, it is those same strategies that have been broken into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's the cost leadership, differentiation, and focus that has been broken into these strategies.
Okay.
Yeah, so far as they ask about business strategies, we are talking about competitive advantage. And competitive advantage begins with these ones, right? But here we are looking at the perceived benefits, the best combination of benefit and price that will what give the customer what? Are we okay?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So with that being said, let's look at strategies that will fail. Business strategies on the clock that will fail. Now, the diagram on the clock shown above indicates some business strategies that will not succeed because they do not enable the company to gain a competitive advantage. There are other strategies that competitors might adopt that will be more successful, okay? Strategies in the area that could be described as 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock on the what? The strategy clock are clearly inferior to strategies on the other parts of the clock. Products with perceived benefits that are below average cannot be sold successfully when they are lower price products offering the same perceived benefits. You get it? Because why would I go and pay something that has a low value compared to what someone else is offering? It doesn't make sense. So customers will not pay more for products that, in their opinion, give them nothing extra than what other ones are giving at the same price, right? Similarly, products cannot be sold successfully at an above average price when they have below average perceived benefits. So customers can pay similar prices for products offering more benefits, which will be sold by companies pursuing what? A focused differentiation strategy. So why should I go and buy yours when somebody can give me something better than yours? Understood. So what is the conclusion? Now, using the strategy clock, each business strategy is market facing, which means that I get in it. It aims to meet the needs of customers or a large proportion of potential customers in the market. It is therefore very important to understand the critical success factors, which is what the company must do to succeed for every position on the clause. In particular, what exactly does above average benefits mean? A useful exercise is to think about any product or service with which you are familiar and a company that provides the product or service. The market should be competitive. So then try to describe the business strategy that the company has for its product or service, using the strategy clock as a basis for analyzing business strategies. So remember that the benefits of a product or service do not have to be different. Are you getting it? Product design or different product quality. Other features of a product or service could give them better value in the opinion of customers, such as fast speed of delivery, availability in stock. When you call it, they have quantities in stock, the convenience of the purchase, a better after-sales service, or a product guarantee. So it all starts with your value chain and how you coordinate activities and create a suitable value network. So benefits do not have to be real. Remember, I told you it may be perceived or actual, right? What matters is whether customers believe that a product offers more benefits to them. Branding and advertising can create extra benefits in the perception of customers. So this is a strategy, right? Appropriate branding and advertising can help the person. That's why always, you see somebody who go to the shop, immediately he goes to the shop, he says, I want Omo. No be so.
Yes.
I want Omo. Yes, because Omo is what he's saying. I want Mada. Meanwhile, there are other brands, right? Because that is what he sees on the market. That's what he's
like a Ghanaian going to buy a toothpaste. When he gets there, say Pepsodent.
Pepsodent. They close up.
Meaning
Pepsodent. Easy buyer perception. Okay.
Yeah.
So these people do these things actually to create a lock-in strategy to make sure that the customer becomes loyal to them. Okay. And that is one of the base cases for advertising. Okay. So actually, when every company is doing promotion right now, even in the digital world, when we try to do promotion, we always implement the AIDA strategy, right? That we create a funnel. You see, a funnel decreases as you get to the end, right? So we always try to create awareness or grab the customer's attention, right? So the person doesn't know you at this point. So you use something to grab his attention, maybe a free video, right? Maybe a free video to grab his attention about what you do. Then from there, you drive his interest. After watching the video, you say, oh, these guys are good though. Do you get it? So you generate interest. So at this point, he's simmering down to start trusting in you, right? After creating the interest, he realizes that, oh, you were teaching maybe a competitive advantage in the video, but you didn't finish. But the guys are good. I need more of this. So you end up creating a desire for the product, right? So after creating a desire, the person will be like, oh, where is their location? Okay, in the video, they provided their number. I want to try and join their class, right? The desire has been created. Then from there, you drive him to your website or you drive him to your WhatsApp, right? And then he says, oh, do you have any services you offer? You say, oh, yes, we offer a case study premium class, which costs this amount, right? So you see, you converted their awareness into a desire. Now they are going to what? Now take action and say, okay, I want to join class. So you see, you've taken him from the start of the funnel to the end of the funnel. And finally, this guy is going to end up purchasing your course, right? And this one works. This is what we call a sales funnel, actually. If it works like magic, okay? So every business should have some sort of sales funnel which directs the customer from not knowing you. When a customer does not know you, we call it a cold traffic, right? Traffic is people, leads that you generate. Okay, so this is cold traffic. He doesn't know you. Then once he gets attention about, do you know that some people might watch this free video, it will not generate their interest, or some may watch, they may end up in the second step, right? It will only generate their interest, but they do not have any desire to purchase, right? They just want free stuff. You get it? So still, those same people, you can utilize them. So cold traffic is somebody who didn't know you at all. That person can become warm traffic, right? These people are aware of you. Maybe they got to the desire stage, but they didn't take action. They didn't contact you. They didn't buy, but they keep visiting your YouTube channel. They know about you, right? Then we have what we call hot traffic. Hot traffic are people who patronize your services. Let's say somebody who bought this course from you, who bought the case study masterclass from you. And then the whole thing about strategy is what? I told you, sustainable advantage. It's not that when somebody buys from you once, that is all. You must make sure the person keeps buying from you. Do you get it? You must make sure the person keeps buying from you. And this is what these target brands always do. Okay, these are concepts in marketing that are, it involves something we call marketing psychology. There's a whole course on marketing psychology which tells you how to what? Play with the consumer's mind. We call something neuromarketing. Marketing is so interesting, eh? That is why if you go to the shop, you said me Pepsodent red one. No? He's talking about close-up. Yes, because that's ingrained in you. So the whole thing is to keep to turn your cold traffic into warm traffic, and to make sure that that warm traffic, warm traffic later becomes what? Hot traffic. Do you understand? Because hot traffic doesn't only buy from you, they buy and keep buying. That's why you subscribe to somebody's email newsletter and they always bombard you with messages to and fro every day, right? It is because you have gone through their funnel. And they'll keep texting you until you buy, unless you don't check your emails. You see these foreign companies always do this a lot. And this thing is why companies are converting so much. Do you understand? I hope you learn some small digital marketing.
Sure.
Yeah. So the whole process that you are seeing here is what we call customer relationship management. So you start with client acquisition, okay? Then you analyze the client, then you retain them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes. So once you have been able to identify the client, you must be able to also what? Analyze them. You get it? What is the nature of the client? What is the nature of the client? How do they engage with what you have? How do they like what you do? Do you get it? That is how it is. I hope that's okay. Have you put something down? Put something down quick and let's start looking at the generic strategies. If you are done, tell me.
This we can proceed.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so these are the areas that if business strategy should come, apart from the strategy clock, these are areas that ICA knows students do not learn, right? They know students do not learn these areas. So pattern generic strategy, almost every student is aware of these ones, but the principles of strategic positioning takes you by surprise. Target market, market positioning, which is whether your position is a leader, a follower, a challenger, or a niche, right? Which is a focused person. Product positioning, how do you position your products in the market? Lock-in strategy, the marketing mix, okay? And strategies when you are in a turbulent environment, which we call hyper competition. These are models that every student should have on their fingertips. If you know this, together with your product market and portfolio strategies, BCG, those kind of things, I don't think case study should be an issue because these are the areas that they always examine. If you look at the trend, you see that these are the same things they always bring. But the student is always complaining they've changed the trend. No trend has changed. If you learn, you will know, right? These things, I don't need to read any book to talk about them. They are things that we do in a day-to-day, right? It's a day-to-day something. It's practical, okay? So when I'm teaching you, I want you to understand the concept such that even if you don't read in a long time and a question comes, you understand what it means. Ben, do you get it?
Yes, sir.
So it's like you understand what it means rather than you chewing and pour. If you chew and pour, by the time the pre-scene is out, you don't remember anything. Are they like?
It be true.
Okay.
It be true.
So this is what I want you to write down. Just write generic strategies. Don't write cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. Write generic strategy. Write 6 principles of strategic positioning. Write target market. Write leaders, followers, challenges, and niches. That's market positioning. Write product positioning. Write lock-in strategy, and write hyper competition. So you see, when we get to a place I want you to write, I make you write because these are the things that they ask in the exam. Okay, so please, these are what you need for the exam. I hope you're putting it down.
Yes, please.
Please, if you are done, you tell me, then we'll go.
Okay.
Can we move?
No, sir. Okay.
So, Porter generic strategies for competitive advantage. Now, Porter suggests 3 main strategies for sustaining competitive advantage over rival firms and their products or services. These strategies are similar to the ones that we showed on the strategy clock. And the whole thing is that it is these strategies that even created the strategy clock. Do you understand? So a cost leadership strategy, a differentiation strategy, and a focus strategy. But the whole thing is that a focus strategy, you see, these strategies we see here are conducted or are implemented in a broad market segment, okay? Meaning that we use this to serve all our customers. But with this one, it is in a narrow or a niche market, right? A small market segment. So you can be a focused guy, but you are focused on cost, right? Which becomes cost focused. Or you may be focused on differentiation, which we call what? Differentiation what? Focus. I hope that is okay. I hope that's yeah. So the focus can
and so what of best cost strategy?
Best cost provider. So the best cost provider is the one who has been able to what? Convert or coordinate his value chain to the extent that he is the one capturing a major part of the market, right? That his cost strategy may even have features and he's not going to lose, right? So if you come to the whole market, this guy, his price is very cheap. But at the end of the day, the features that you are getting is not so bad. That could be a best cost provider strategy.
Okay.
You get it? And there are some companies who are stuck in the middle. They don't know whether they are here or they are there, right? It depends. You get it? And it all depends on how your industry is. I told you before you succeed, it is 2 things that determine competitive advantage. What are they? The industry structure and your what? Your 5 forces, right? The competition. And what? At the individual level, what? Your sustainable competitive advantage or your resources and competencies. So it depends on where you find yourself, right? So it doesn't mean that change now you have to use cost lead. There are companies which implement all the 3. Okay, it depends on what segment of the market they are, whether they're in the broad market or they're in the narrow market. Are we okay? Now, Porter argues that sustainable competitive advantage is achieved by offering customers a value proposition. what do you propose? Okay, so this value proposition in modern language or practically, we call this an irresistible offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see that you get a combo pack. So let's say a combo pack is when you subscribe to my course, right? You get a what? Question pack. Also, you get a meeting times. You get one-on-one classes. Okay. You get textbook. Also.
Then say you didn't give us textbook.
No, this one is not mine. No. I'm just I gave you a summarized textbook. I gave you the summarized one. You haven't printed it yet. No, if you need textbook, it can be arranged. Don't worry. So assuming you have a combo, right? And when you go to every other place, you don't have those things in there, right? That is your value proposition. So the set of benefits that the product or service will provide that are different from what others are giving. Now, the whole thing is that no matter what business you are in, okay, you have to try to set some sort of irresistible offer, okay? And then in our profession itself, do you know that accountants find it difficult to get clients? Do you know that? ICA want to set up. That's why most of them end up working for other firms, because it's difficult getting clients because they don't know you. And the only way you can create a suitable clientele, okay, is to create an irresistible offer. Okay, this irresistible offer is what we call what? The value proposition. What value do you propose to the person? Okay, so first of all, finding the client itself is an issue. How much more creating the value proposition? Okay, so these are some of the things that you face and in the online space. Okay, so when you are working for a client, these are the things you try to identify, come up with a suitable digital marketing strategy for the person. And these things are very practical. It's very practical, but people just take it as just exam. Okay, so this is a set of benefits that the product or service will provide that are different from those that any competitors offer. Now, a value proposition can be created in two ways. Looking at operational effectiveness, right? This means doing the same things better than competitors and providing the same boost either at a lower cost. Okay, so through lower cost, sustainable competitive advantage can be gained through lower selling prices, right? Then we have strategic positioning. So even if it's no operational effectiveness, it can be strategic positioning, right? That is your value proposition. So it means doing things differently from your competitors so that the company offers something unique to customers, right? So that customers will be prepared to pay a higher price to acquire the unique value combination that the product or service offers. Do you understand? So operating or operational effectiveness provides the basis for a cost leadership strategy, and strategic positioning provides the basis for a differentiation strategy, right? So with what I gave here, which one would it be? Would it be based on operational effectiveness or it will be based on strategic positioning? The irresistible offer that I gave, where would we put it? Was it based on operational effectiveness or it was based more on strategic positioning? The features, the different features that I gave. So each of them could have been sold as a different feature, right? But I put all together as a combo. So am I dealing with operational effectiveness as a value proposition, or I'm dealing with strategic positioning as a value proposition? Which of
operational?
Okay, operational because it was more of the cost, right? I put all together at a low cost. So that is it. Okay. So when it comes to low cost, you are looking at operational effectiveness, right? If you come to differentiation, you are looking at strategic positioning. So let's look at the cost leadership strategy. Cost leadership means being the lowest cost producer in the market, right? And this can only be achieved mostly with economies of scale, right? To be the least producer. So the least cost producer is able to compete effectively on price by offering its products at a lower price than rival products. It can sell its products more cheaply than competitors and still make profit. Companies with a cost leadership strategy must have an excellent system of cost control and should continually plan for further cost reduction. So you see, excellent system of cost control and should continually plan for cost reduction does not mean it is a potential area where ICA can even bring computation for you. So I tell you, when you are looking at things like this, always anywhere you see cost revenue, know that there's a potential that they can bring question, okay, where there will be some cost issues and you have to compute some ratios and talk about, you can even use ratios to tell the strategy somebody's pursuing, whether the person is doing differentiation or the person is pursuing what? Cost leadership. Do you get it? So you can look at the nature, of course, they tell you that, okay, in the value chain, inventory of this, right? Raw materials of this much, this of this much. You have to do all the computations and compare. If you should pursue this strategy, this is the amount you incur in this strategy. Then you decide the best strategy for the company, right? Which will minimize its cost. Are you getting it? So to focus on control and what? Cost reduction, you need to do this in order to remain the cost leadership in the market, the cost leader in the market, so that you can capture a large portion of the market, right? So the source of their competitive advantage is low cost, and they must never lose sight of this fact, right? And the whole thing is that if you become a cost leader, how do you plan for cost control and cost reduction? It begins with your value chain. Okay, so in the value chain, we know that it starts with what? Your inbound logistics, right? How you buy and store your raw materials, right, of your primary activities. But then there are some activities that support this. For instance, your technology, right? Technology, HR, right? Suitable place to keep it. Let's say storage facility, which is part of firm infrastructure, management chain. You have procurement, right? Now look at this. If HR goes to acquire a procurement manager or a technology manager, right? Or we bring the latest tech for maybe cooling our inventory, you get the idea. And then our procurement manager is a good guy. He's able to negotiate better prices with suppliers. Won't that add value to our inbound logistics?
It will.
So if we are going to buy these goods at 5 cedis per unit, right? And before, we could acquire them at 15 cedis per unit. You see, we have a favorable variance of about 10 cedis per unit. Is that not so? Now, if this goes into production, won't we end up selling at a lower price than people on the market?
It will be so.
The price is so low because something that could have been bought at 15 was bought at 5, meaning there was a cost saving of 10 per unit, which means that this guy will succeed on the market as a cost leader, right? Because nobody can get this. And this means that you must do slight improvement in your value chain, eradicate issues which take a lot of cost, right? If you think something is non-core business, you can outsource it.
That's the organic growth. We are using our internal resources effectively to,
You see how they link to each other. That's how it is. Okay, so these things, they are not just book, they are practical. They are practical, internal rearrangement. So all these things, cutting down some activities, radically rethinking and redesigning your operations. We call it business process re-engineering. We must re-engineer, cut down some activities, do collaborations, do other things that will end up creating more value. And you creating value within your value chain may end you up as either a cost leader or a differentiator based on how effectively you try to either cut costs or add costs, right? Remember, adding cost and premium features will make you a differentiator. Cutting down costs may make you what? A cost leader. Makes sense. Now, in general, the cost leader in a market is a large company because large companies can benefit from economies of scale. You remember I told you this, that before you enjoy cost leadership, mostly it comes with economies of scale that small companies cannot achieve. The success of a cost leadership strategy is based on offering products at the lowest price, which means that in order to make a reasonable profit, the company must sell large quantities of the product. So mostly we are looking at high volume, I get a high volume, low value. Sometimes it works like that, right? So you sell large quantities, right? And the price is low. So total profits usually come from selling large volumes at a low profit margin per unit. A cost leadership strategy is similar to a low price strategy or a no-frills strategy on the strategy clock. So you see how they relate. So just write this one down. This is the only thing I need. This is the only thing I need because I see they are smart. They can tell you what is the relationship between the low price strategy, no-frills strategy, and the cost leadership strategy. Do you get it? So please put it down.
The difference between...
No, just write this statement down. A cost leadership strategy is similar to a low price strategy or a no-frills strategy on the strategy clock. I said ICA can come with a question and tell you what is the difference between the low price strategy, no-frills strategy, on and the generic strategy, or what is the similarity between them? You get it. These are all potential questions that I see might ask you. So any little thing that you see, you have to talk about it.
Okay.
Differentiation strategy. Now, this has been explained in relation to the strategic club for Porter and for writers on marketing management. Now, differentiation means making a product different from rival products in a way that customers can recognize, right? Customers might be willing to pay a higher price for the product because they value its different features. Companies pursuing a differentiation strategy need to offer products and services that are perceived as better, as or more suitable than those of their competitors. To deliver better products and services usually requires investment and innovation. Okay, so you must invest into it and then you must innovate. So companies with a differentiation strategy cannot ignore cost. You remember I told you? Yes, they should keep costs under control and try to reduce costs so that they can offer more value to customers and retain their competitive advantage. However, they are not trying to be the least cost producers. It is more important for a successful differentiation strategy that products should give more benefits to the customer, even if this means having to spend more to deliver the product. Now, what is a focus strategy? A cost leadership strategy and a differentiation strategy can be pursued in a market that is not segmented, right? However, many consumer markets are segmented, and companies might select one or more particular segments as target markets for their product. This is a focus strategy, concentrating on selling the product to a particular segment of the market and to a particular type of customer. Within a market segment, a business entity might see competitive advantage through one, cost leadership within the market segment, or product differentiation within the market segment. You remember I told you, a narrow market. So that is what? Cost focus or differentiation focus, right? So example for soap. In the market of manufacturing and selling soap, one or two companies might pursue a strategy of being the cost leader in the market and offer their standard products to customers at the lowest prices. Other producers of soap might pursue a differentiation strategy and promote the superior quality of their product. For example, including ingredients that are better for the skin or provide a more attractive aroma. But some producers of soap might also focus on a particular market segment, such as the market for liquid soap. Within this segment, firms might either seek to be a low-cost producer or to offer a differentiated liquid soap product, right? So they are not selling all the soap, but they just want liquid soap targeted to some particular people. I hope that is okay. So when it comes to the generic strategies, right? Porter strategies can be used to suggest how airline companies seek to achieve competitive advantage. So these are some suggestions. When you look at cost leadership, we are looking at a low-cost airline. So reducing your operating costs like cheaper ticket production online, right? No free inline meals, in-flight meals or drinks. Use low-cost out-of-city airports, eliminate seat reservations and reduce baggage allowances for passengers. Go for high capacity usage, like high percentage of seats that are sold on each flight, right? Then when it comes to differentiation, you could offer high or extra facilities for customers at airports, offer extra facilities on flights, promote the airline through branding or advertising, fly to major airports, maintain a modern fleet of aircraft, right? Which looks attractive. Remember, quality is perception. Remember, quality is what? Is perception. Don't forget this, right? Now, what about focus? When it comes to focus, you can pursue a cost leadership strategy or differentiation strategy in a particular geographical region of the world. For example, Southwest United States, or focus on a particular high profit route like London to New York, right? Possibly focus on a particular type of customer. In the UK, an airline might focus on services for business customers in the City of London, or offering convenient flights to and from City of London Airport on small planes. So it's up to you, right? You decide whether you want to go differentiation focus or you want to go cost focus. So let's look at holiday companies, an example. The market in the UK for holiday companies is another example of a segmented market in which different companies pursue a cost leadership, differentiation, or focus strategy. The main market for holiday companies is probably the package holidays market, where a small number of competitors attempt to be the cost leader. Although differences in some features of holiday packages means that a competitive advantage can be gained from low prices, even if these are not the lowest prices in the market. Some companies offer a package holiday at a higher price, but with better quality, accommodation, or additional benefits, such as on-site pastimes and entertainment. For example, Center Parcs and Club Mediterranean, right? There are a number of market segments such as fly, drive holidays, city breaks, and adventure holidays. Within each market segment, competitors seek to be the cost leader or differentiate their products. Okay, so it's up to you to decide which one of them, or some people do all of them concurrently. Now, to position yourself strategically, how you get to it? We look at how individual firms can achieve what? Sustainable competitive advantage. There are 6 principles. This thing has appeared in your exam 3 times. 3 times. There's a potential it can appear again, right? And sometimes they can only ask you to suggest some of the principles. Do you understand?
Yep.
So let's see. So there are 6 principles. The first principle to help you achieve competitive advantage is that you should have a strategic goal, okay, to achieve a superior long-term return on investment. So your return on investment, we know your return on investment is simply the return you expected, which is definitely your profit over the capital that you employ or your investment, right? And we know this as return on capital employed. It is the most important ratio in the world because everybody who invests wants a superior ROI. So the whole thing is that if your end goal is to get a superior ROI, what work are you putting in? So you should not select as what your strategic goal any other objective, such as maximizing sales volume or maximizing your market share, on the assumption that profit will result from this. Maximizing sales or market share does not necessarily provide a superior ROI, but look at the ROI itself. How do you increase shareholders' wealth? How can you get a superior ROI? Do you understand? That's what the first principle of gaining strategic or sustainable competitive advantage. 2, what is your unique value proposition? What is your irresistible offer? Do you understand? So what is your unique value proposition? What is the irresistible offer that you are creating, right? So the strategy must offer what? A unique value proposition for the customer. And this is a combination of price and benefits that competitors do not and cannot what? Offer. Are we okay? So the value proposition might be for customers in the entire market or for customers in a segment or niche of the market. So first of all, what is the ROI I want to get? The maximum return I expect. What value proposition can I give to get that ROI? What irresistible offer can I create, right? At the end of the day, I must create a distinctive value chain. So superior ROI in the long term, also a unique value proposition, the best benefit of price and what benefits that we can offer, which our competitors cannot offer, right? Or we can do better about. 3, what is our distinctive value chain? How is our value chain different? Are you getting it? From what customers value or what competitors can offer. So a company should perform similar activities to competitors, but in a different way that offers customers more and more value. Are we okay? So principle number 4 is that the selected strategy should involve some sacrifices. Do you understand? Because there's no way you do what you do to succeed without sacrifices, right? So the selected strategy will involve some trade-offs. So this means that by selecting one set of strategic options, a company inevitably chooses not to select alternative options, right? For example, there has to be a trade-off between what? The selling price of the product and the benefits that it offers. By offering one set of benefits, you are choosing not to offer the others. Remember, otherwise you may run at a loss, right? So if you could alter your product or value chain without having to make trade-off, it cannot be achieving any sustainable competitive advantage because you'll be losing from one end, right? And competitors will be able to copy what you are doing. So there must always be some sacrifices or some trade-offs, right? The principle 5 is what? All the different elements and in the value chain should link together. Remember, I keep talking about coordination. There must be some coordination among all the activities that we've seen from 1 to 4, right? To link the various activities in the value chain, are you getting it? To reinforce each other, to create some sort of synergy. So once synergy is created, there should then be the sixth principle, which is what? The continuity of your strategic what? Direction, your strategic scope, how you want to grow, right? So having chosen your strategies and then the direction you want to take to succeed in your business, you should apply the strategy consistently. It's not about you doing it once, but you being consistent. If you keep doing it, you should emerge as successful. So it should avoid the temptation of changing strategy every time a new threat emerges. So it is not about what? Just changing your strategy when a new threat arises, but being consistent. So the 6 principles of strategic positioning, are they okay?
Yes.
So what are they? 1, we must fight forward a superior ROI.
That's you should have a strategic goal to achieve a superior long-term return on your investment.
Yes. So once we do that, what is the next step? What is the irresistible offer that we are creating, right? A unique value proposition.
That's the unique value.
So once you are able to give these people the unique value they're expecting, how is my value distinct, right?
Yeah.
So you are looking at a distinctive value chain.
Value. Then your trade-offs.
There should be some sacrifices, right? So what trade-offs are you willing to offer?
And there must be a
linkage
together
in value chain, right? And then what? Consistency of strategy, right?
Yes.
Consistency of strategy or continuity of strategic direction. So write it down. So these are the 6 principles you can hold on to or apply when you want to achieve consistent competitive advantage. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
So please put it down.
Yeah, so that is how to sustain a competitive advantage.
Yeah. Please, if you are done, you tell me, then we move.
We can move.
So now we've seen that. Let's understand target markets. Now, what is a target market? Now, your target market is the market you are trying to serve, right? So you must decide which market or market segment you want to target, okay? And that's market segmentation and market targeting, okay? So market segmentation and market targeting, one aspect, you see, I bring bits and pieces of the practical side in our current marketing. You have something we call your buyer persona, right? Who are you trying to target, right? So your buyer persona or the characteristics of your buyer may be demographics, okay, your demographics, okay, or it could be psychographics, right? Demographics or what? Psychographics. Do you understand? Oh, it seems the thing was muted. I don't know. So I'm saying that when you want to target a buyer, right? Targeting involves using either customer demographics or customer psychographics. Demographics have to do with things like age, income, geographical area, work, the type of work they do, where they are located. All these things are demographic, things we can normally see or we normally customize people by. But psychographics is things that are of the mind, things that we cannot directly know, right? But we can, based on the activities the person does online or keeps online, we can know his psychographics. Like what interests him. You can see that somebody is always on Instagram checking out funny clips, right? If you do the research, you see that, okay, this customer likes more funny clips. So if I go and share ICA flyer with him, is he going to be interested? Is he going to be interested?
No.
No, you get it. So psychographics have to do with what? The things like what? Interest, perception of the buyer, opinions, values, dislikes, likes. Okay, these things we cannot really see with the mere eye, but there are ways we can target people, right? So anytime you want to dive into an online segment, these are some of the things that you can look at, right? To help you diagnose the kind of customer that you are dealing with, right? So you must decide which market or market segment you should target. So you must identify the total market for the product or service that you sell, recognize the ways in which the market is or might be segmented, decide whether to sell its products to all customers in the market based on your demographics or psychography, right? Decide whether to try to be the market leader or pursue a differentiation strategy, or if you choose a segment strategy or focus strategy, select the segment that you target with your product. And within the target market segment, decide whether to try to be the market leader or whether to pursue what? A differentiation strategy. I hope that is okay. So that's market targeting in simple steps. Now, what is a market niche? It's a small segment of the market, and an entity might target a market niche and expect to achieve its corporate objectives by selling its products or services to a fairly small number of potential customers in that niche. So we have your market positioning. So in your market, your position may be a leader, a follower, a challenger, or a nicher. Okay, a leader is the entity that sells most products in the market. Example are Microsoft for their PC operating software and Coca-Cola for cola drinks. A challenger is an entity that is not the market leader but wants to take over. Okay, so we are simply talking about the number 2 in the market, right? Then we have a follower. It's an entity that does not have any ambition to be the market leader, but he follows a strategic lead provided by the market leader. So if the market leader does this, then he will also do it. So strategy as a ploy. So if what kind of competitor response strategy is that? There are 4 competitor response profiles. Do you remember? What are they? If your competitor does something, there are 4 responses that we looked at. We have laid back, right? Not doing anything. Then we have what? Aggressive or tiger attack, right? Then we have what? Stochastic. And then we have what? What's the last one? What's the last one? Ben, what's the last one? I've forgotten.
Yeah, I have to revise.
I have forgotten the last one. So there's one where when the person does A, you do B. There's one where you don't do anything. There's one where you respond in an unpredictable pattern, right? I think that's the stochastic. It's unpredictable pattern. And there's one that when the person does something, you respond immediately. It has just escaped me. I think it's tiredness. But strategy, this is what we call strategy as a ploy. So a follower usually ploys, right? You look at what the market leader is doing, then you follow. Do you get it? And mostly you would follow and then differentiate it or add your own innovation. So a nicher is an entity that targets a particular market segment or market niche for its product and does not have any strategic ambition to gain a position in the larger market. It just wants to focus, I get it, on a limited or a small segment. Okay, so remember them. They can ask you, ICA can tell you to define the following or talk about market position, whether the person differentiate between this and niche, challenger, follower, and a leader. So let's talk about product positioning. Now, the concept of product positioning is now widely used in marketing. The idea originated by Rice and Trout in the late 1960s. And I told you anytime you see names in strategic case that you always write them down because ICA, they are smart. They can say, according to Rice and Trout, talk about product positioning. So if you don't know about this and you go and say anything else, you might be wrong, right? So the concept of product positioning is now widely used in marketing. The idea originated with Rice and Trout in the late 1960s. They defined product positioning as the concept of the product in the mind of the customer, right? So advertising is an important factor in creating product position. Rice and Trout argued that customers receive vast amounts of advertising information, but they will only accept the messages that are consistent with their existing knowledge and experience. So that is why I told you that you always have to segment based on what? What are the 2 major factors for customer segmentation? Because day in, day out, you see people see ads every time. The customer is always seeing adverts. The customer is always seeing flyers. The customer is always seeing videos, right? So there's so much information overload. What will make the customer ignore all these ones and go and click yours when there are so many people providing the same advert every day on his or her phone or laptop, right? So there are 2 major factors that I told you that we can use to segment customers. What are they? That if you want to determine your buyer persona, what are the 2 major factors we use to determine our buyer persona? Yes. I told you your buyer persona can be defined by demography or psychography, right? So what message will be accepted by the customer? Maybe based on his interest. You see this person liked ICA Hangouts a lot. This is somebody that when you share any information regarding tax practice or ICA, may be interested in, right? Not somebody who is always watching funny TikToks and the person is not interested in education, or the person is not an accounting related or finance related person. Then you share ICA stuff with him. Do you think this person will be interested? No. So to position your product, you must know what the customer will accept and what the customer will not accept, right? They also argue that the best product position to achieve in the mind of consumers is the position of number 1. The market leader dominates the market for many products and services, and customers will often buy a product because it is the number one. So the whole thing is that you have to stage yourself to become the number one. So in the customer's mind, if you are the number one, they always want to buy from you because they know that when they buy this course from you, they are never going to fail their exam. They know that if they patronize your management accounting, there's no way they are going to fail, right? So even if you are not the number one, try to become number one in your space. You get it? That is product positioning. Are we okay? So there are many ways you do this. Either you are the number one, or you become the number two, or you try harder. Okay, so being the number one, when an entity is the market leader, it should want to maintain its market leadership. To do this, you need to maintain your position as number one in the mind of the consumers. It's not about whether you are who says you are number one. It is the customers who can prove you are number one, right? So all that we are saying that MTN is the number one is because of how they've created that over time and how the customer sees MTN, right? To do this, you need to maintain your position as number one in the mind of consumers. And the most effective way of becoming number one in the mind of consumers is to be the first into the market at the beginning of the product's life cycle. Mostly you see companies which started their products first and keep innovating, always keep being on top because people know that brand for long, right? If this is not possible, an entity needs to create a new image for its product that will enable it to take over as the perceived number one. Now, a lot of companies started here, right? They were the first to issue the product, but they thought that nobody will come and bypass them. So they didn't innovate. And because of that, they failed to create a new image for their product and now they fell short, right? So if you are number one, keep being number one by identifying gaps in the market and filling those gaps.
Like Apple.
Of course. So comparing, you see, Nokia could have been on top, but look at what happened.
Yeah.
Nokia, do you know Nokia started the QWERTY keyboard before Apple, before even, but what happened? They thought nobody could bypass them and see now what has happened. So you see, they thought, oh, we started this thing, but at the end of the day, they should have created a new image. They should have innovated. So if you are not number one, then you can be number two, okay? How do you become number two? When you are the only number two in the market, customers will know that, oh, if we take MTN from there, we know it's good at, right? So unless the entity wants to challenge for the position of number one, it must do what it can to win customers for its position from its position as number two. Advertising can help. So in the US, Avis has been the number two car hire company and heads the number one. Avis achieved a position as an attractive number two by recognizing its number two position, but offering something better than the number one. Its successful advertising message was, Avis is only the number two in a rent-a-car. So why go with us? We try harder. It is not clear what trying harder means, but this did not matter. Pepsi promoted the 7-Up soft drink against the market leader Coca-Cola by advertising it as the Ancola. This recognized that it was not the number one soft drink, but offered customers the attraction of not being cola. So even if you are the number two, you must still give what? An irresistible offer. That unique value proposition, and all comes with innovation. You understand? So people go and learn marketing. They keep learning marketing, but the one thing about marketing is innovation management and customer relationship management. If you can manage these two things, you'll be successful in any business that you do. Because we have gone from sales and closing more to marketing. That's identifying customer needs and satisfying them. Understood?
Yeah.
Now, product positioning for followers and niches. Now, if you are not number one or number two, then you can be a follower or a niche. If you are not a market leader or challenger, then you can be a follower or a niche. We saw that, right? Now, Rice and Trout again argued that entities that are not number one in their market should try to find a way of being number one in a particular way. That's what I told you. So it is much better to be seen as the number one in the market segment or in a special way than the number 5 in the market as a whole. Do you understand? So you must have something that would distinguish you from what others are doing. And that is what makes you who you are. Okay? So there's something special about everyone. What is that speciality about your service or your goods that would distinguish you from all the other players? Okay? So to create a product position of number one in the mind of customers, you might devise various marketing strategies. You remember we talked about the funnel, right? The sales funnel.
Yes.
The sales funnel is how you take people through your buying steps to the time they purchase, from when they are cold traffic down to the time they become hot traffic and keep buying from you. Now, this is one thing that you maintain throughout the cycle. And once you are able to maintain this throughout the cycle, trust me, you are not going to have any problem. Always, you will always close. Closing is a process of making the customer buy from you. Remember, in the online space now, people only buy from, not even the online space. Do you know people only buy for people they trust or brands they trust? No, be so.
Maybe so.
People only buy from brands that they trust. So if I don't trust your brand, no matter how good you are, I'm not going to buy from you.
Right, yeah.
First, create that unique value proposition. Let the customer see who you are, how you are. Because it started with what? When we talked about Ada, what did Ada start with? It started with what? Attention or awareness, not so?
Yeah.
Do you understand? So to trust you, I must be aware of what you are offering. I must trust what you are offering. Do you understand? That is what we are looking at. I must trust what you are offering. I must be aware of what you are offering. Cool? Are we cool?
Yeah.
Now,
So, with the approach recommended by Rice as being number one for a particular type of a customer, MTN is having a core package called AFA,
okay,
which is specifically for farmers and women who are into agribusiness, where they can call each other for free and they can have some low-cost credit to call other networks and other other networks. And with this, MTN being the market leader in the communication industry, still, it still want to concentrate, focus, using low cost to a specific segment of the market, targeting farmers.
Yes, you remember I told you that once you're a business, you don't have to rely on one of them. You can pursue all of them. Do you remember we said that? That you can decide to do all the strategies concurrently. MTN has products where it goes low cost, right? Some of their data packages are low cost than all the other networks. True or false? They have packages too that are premium based, meaning they are differentiating, right? Like TurboNet and other broadband packages, right? They have ones that they're also focusing on farmers, teachers, and other people, insurance, banking, and other things, right? So it doesn't mean that you should pursue one strategy. No, you look at what is happening in the market and what strategy suits you. That is why we say what you should always try to find your point of becoming number one. There's something special about you which nobody knows or nobody can compete with, right? That is what you should fight for. We call that what? What's the word? The advantage, right? Trying to find your competitive advantage. That is what we call that advantage. That advantage that you have, which somebody does not have, right? That makes you a strategic champion. Everybody is a strategic champion in its own way, right? You have something which somebody does not have. You have something which I do not have. I have something which you do not have. So what is your unique value proposition? What do you have that we do not have? What is your operational effectiveness and what is your strategic position? You remember we said that. This is how to look at it. So when you see a company, these are all the things that you have to try to look at or you have to try to focus on, right? And then you see how they are going to do. So to create a product position of number one in the mind of customers, you might devise various marketing strategies, right? The approach recommended by Rice and Trout is to be the number one for a particular type of customer, such as the number one product for women or the number one product for professional businessmen. Okay, for example, a newspaper or magazine might claim to be the number one choice for investment bankers or investors, right? A local radio station might claim to be the number one commercial station in its geographical area or the number one station for a particular type of music. So you see, these people are not claiming the whole segment, right? Or the whole major segment, but for a particular thing. Okay, so I know that I may not be the number one station, but I know that when it comes to Cools, I am the number one at playing Cools as a radio station. You see, they found number one for something. So in life, be a number one at something. You can be the number one at disappointing people or number one at lying. You are still number one. It's funny. Nice. I hope that's understood. You can be the number one at always getting pass in your exam. Let you be the number one. Always impressing examiners. Can be the number one at always passing strategic case study, right? And any other paper, be the number one, right? No matter when, even if you are not doing well in other aspects of your life, be the number one at always staying consistent. Remember, success is not about motivation, it's about consistency. So far as you show up every day, you will see results. There's one thing I have noticed. Just show up every day. Even if you are down, you just show up. When you keep showing up, it tells God that this guy wants it, and I give you. So God only gives people what they are aware of. If you don't have knowledge about something, it is difficult for God to give you. So just keep being consistent. That's why people keep praying for money. They don't get money because they've not studied about money. If you study and you know about money, God will give you money. Yes, because it will force you. Now that you have more knowledge about money, you start exploiting. That is it. So those are some of the principles. So Apple Mac PC were not the number one make of personal computer, but it was marketed as the number one PC for graphic designers. So every graphic designer knows that I want Apple. Me like this, if it's not Apple for graphic design, though it's an Apple PC, I use Windows on it, but I prefer Apple because of its speed. I've loaded it with my 60 gig RAM. With the RAM.
That's right.
Now, because for graphic design, they need high-end graphics, good graphics, so that when you design, the client will see it and go, wow. So me, I like high-end PCs because of design. Okay, and it's very good. If you go and give me a PC with 6 gig, 8 gig, that one is for Microsoft Office work. I can't use it.
Okay.
Unless maybe I'm typing books, then fine. But if not, for graphics and website design, website development, I need high-end graphics. So that is it. Now, that was it, right? So Rice and Trout, they've told us either you are number one or you are number two, or you try to be number one in your own way. So when Rice and Trout comes in your exam, these are the three things you talk about, right? Be the number one. If you cannot be the number one, be the number two.
Be number two.
Be the number two. Be number one in your own way.
In a particular segment, on a particular product.
Or a particular style. I get it. Yes. So that is it. So the whole thing is specialization, right? That's what they're looking for. So what then is a lock-in strategy? We talk about lock-in strategies. Now, a lock-in strategy is another approach to gaining and keeping competitive advantage, okay? So the idea of lock-in is that when a customer has made an initial decision to purchase a company's product, it is committed to making more purchases from the same company in the future. You remember that hot traffic. So how do we keep our hot traffic from still buying from us? You have to lock in that customer. Give him free products. So, oh, thank you for patronizing our product. Now, this is a free note, or this is a discount for our next training. Do you get it? So these are some of the things you can create to lock in a customer. So the idea of locking is that when a customer has made an initial decision to purchase your product, it is committed to making more purchases from you in the future. The customer is locked in to the supplier and the supplier's product. So lock-in strategies are fairly common in the IT industry. Microsoft has successfully locked in many customers to its software products. Okay, so in our web design and then digital marketing area that we teach, okay, let me show you how I do this to lock in the customer. Practical example. When the customer patronizes my digital marketing course, right? So we use we use a funnel to lead him to our WhatsApp platforms, right? And what happens is that even when you have completed the digital marketing course that I've taught you, I will be sharing videos, like sometimes how to gain strategic position. Then I share video, free video. Sometimes I'll do a free course and then I'll share. Sometimes you'll be there, then I'll post a free article. You get the idea? So anytime that you post a new course, you see people will be rushing for it. Why? You have locked in the customer. You have created that loyalty. See, sometimes some people even call you, beg you, whether you don't have any product to sell. It's the customer who is now begging you if there's any course that is available for him to take, right? So that's how locking can become. And it's a very serious strategy. When you lock in a customer, it's like, why an Edro? He doesn't want anything. Yes, of course. And I told you that all these things, you know, way back in the 40s to 60s, neuromarketing was identified, right? So all these brands that they put on TV, almost so clean, and that they use neuromarketing to play with your mind. It's psychology. Okay, it's a psychology of marketing. There are some tips and tricks like social proof, things like social proof. Now, nobody will buy from you if people are not talking about you, right? Or if they do not believe that what you are, you don't have testimonials, or people are not buying from you. And this is the average Ghanaian. For Ghana, nobody buys your product if there's no social proof. Do you know that? So Ghana, if you make something, you try, nobody will buy unless his friend have said, hey, this thing is nice, so go free drink here, fine. Oh, sir, of course. That's how. So they have used the media to create neuromarketing strategies to play with your mind. And you see the way the person will be drinking the drink on TV with sweat all over him in hot sun. Now one can say, oh, meaning to you. That means the next time you see it, at the expense of any other thing, you will choose that one because you have played with your mind. And that is how marketing works. Marketing is not just the book we learn. I realize that, see, when you go for a marketing interview, the first thing they ask you is, sell me this pen. And then you see some people at the interview, this is a gold lash pen. It has a pen top. It has a pen cover. It has the, you see, one secret I'll teach you for any product you want to sell, you are doing case study, right? I like making things practical. Is instead of talking about features, talk about benefits rather, right? Because the whole thing is the customer has a pain point. The customer has a problem and needs a solution. So why are you talking about features? The features are not a solution. It's the benefit he's going to get, which will solve his problem. Are you learning something?
Yeah.
These are simple tricks we use to sell online. That's why sometimes you see that you end up buying something that you didn't even intend to buy. Of course, we saw your pain point and we satisfied the pain point. Tell me a pen. Then you are talking about this pen has a pen top. This way has a this and this and this. You can say that, kind sir, please, can you kindly note down this for me? So, what do you want me to note down? Oh, there's an important information. But I don't have a pen. Exactly. You need to buy this one. Yes, you created a market. That is it.
Very smart way.
Of course. You need a pen, right? I'm selling one. So this one, the person doesn't even need to ask about the features because he needs to note that down. I've seen there's this acne on your face. Yeah, I have this medication. Oh, the name is so complex. Can you write it down for me? So, but unfortunately, I don't have a pen. Oh, exactly. I'm selling a pen. You're like, wow, this guy is crazy. It's like that. So that's how interesting marketing is. I mean, if you dive into the world of marketing, you can apply it to any industry and it works like magic. Are we okay? So that is it. So we saw that Microsoft successfully locked in many customers to its software products. Customers would find it difficult to switch to personal computers that do not have a Microsoft operating system. You get it? Actually, people prefer Microsoft's operating system than Apple, right? So far as they do not see things like Word, Excel, Microsoft Office, they are not comfortable, right? That's a locking strategy. Apple computers adopted a lock-in strategy for digital downloading of music from the internet. Its iTunes services cannot currently be used on non-Apple MP3 players or most mobile telephones. Customers buying an Apple iPod are currently locked in to buying digital downloads from Apple only. That's a lock-in strategy. Do you get the idea? So you create a unique value proposition that is going to lock the person in such that he cannot get it anywhere. Remember, if we come to 5 forces, that creates an inability to switch. Do you remember? Remember? Yes. So these things are practical. When you see how practical they are, you can apply it to any aspect of your business. Now, a successful lock-in strategy often depends on becoming the industry leader or provider of a standard product to the industry, such as Microsoft operating system for PCs. Once an organization, okay, has become the industry standard, it is very difficult for other suppliers to break into the market because of what that person has. So indeed, market standard positions tend to be reinforced as time goes on and as more and more people turn to that supplier. Lock-in tends to be achieved early in a product life cycle when the new supplier achieves an unassailable lead. However, another type of lock-in strategy is used by companies that make and sell expensive equipment with a long useful life, such as military aircraft. Once a customer has made a decision to buy such product from one supplier, it is committed to buying spare parts and maintenance services from the manufacturer for many years into the future. So another strategy is that you can create something that lasts so long that the customer will only need it and will need subcategories of something around that product from you, and he cannot get it anywhere. Do you understand? So people implement this online a lot. You see that he has a course. The course has a part 1, has a part 2, has a part 3, has a part 4, has a part 5. So he's locking you in such that if you buy part 1, you can't go and get part 2 from anywhere. Are they lie? Are they lie? No be so. So that's an example of lock-in strategy. Are we okay with lock-in strategies? Now, let's look at strategies in conditions of hyper competition. In conditions of hyper competition. Now, cost advantage is more difficult to sustain when there's hyper competition in the market. What is hyper competition? It occurs when the frequency, boldness, and aggressiveness of dynamic moves by competitors create conditions of consistent disequilibrium and change. What does that mean? It means that you are in an industry where the industry keeps changing in such a way that any strategy you even make sometimes does not succeed because people have already thought ahead. You get it? So there's always chaos in whatever you create. That means there's hyper competition. Now, organizations are in a hyper competition or hyper competitive environment when they face fast changing, uncertain, and dynamic business environments in which there are aggressive competitors constantly challenging current assumptions and methods. You remember I just told you, whatever you plan, oh, it's gone. For example, internet sites like Expedia.com, Lastminute.com, and a host of no-frills airlines have radically changed the travel business. So in a market where competitive conditions are more stable, business strategy is concerned with building and sustaining, right? But where you're in a hyper-competitive environment, how can you build and then how can you maintain competitive advantage? It wouldn't be possible, right? Because everything you plan, somebody might what? Might overcome it. Somebody might challenge it. Do you understand? Somebody might challenge whatever you plan. So in a hyper-competitive environment, it is much more difficult to establish sustained competitive advantage through either cost leadership or differentiation, because any competitive advantage that is gained will be temporary. So competitors in a hyper-competitive environment continually look for ways of competing in different ways so that no company can sustain the competitive advantage for long, using the same basis for achieving its advantage. Because the environment keeps changing. If you try to do something in a particular way for a long time, it won't succeed because people would have identified it already, or it would have gone obsolete. It would have become a cake. Do you get the idea? Do you get the idea?
Yes, please.
That is how hyper competition works. So long-term competitive what? Products and services that were once successful might not be relevant for long, right? Long-term competitive advantage is achieved only through making continuous sequence of short-term competitive initiatives. So instead of doing long-term strategy, do short-term things, short, right? So you just take this one, you just implement it for the next 2 weeks, see how it is going to work, right? You see how it works?
Yeah.
You see, okay, for the next 1 month, let me try this and see. Okay, so that is what we are looking at. So if you are able to do this, I don't think you should have any problem when it comes to what hyper competition. So what are the strategies to pursue in a hyper competitive market? One, where products have shorter product life cycles. So you should seek to introduce what? New improved products quickly to compete against established products or competitors. Okay, so introducing a better product might allow you to gain market share, although this advantage will only last until another competitor introduces a new improved product that is even better than yours. So they are always on the lookout, looking for who to devour, right? So immediately you bring it, somebody copy right now and start his. So when that happens, you just bring it quickly, just get the profit you can get, and then you move on to the next strategy. Makes sense? Makes sense, right? Also, to succeed in a hyper competition environment, always imitate competitors. That's the best way to succeed. And people are imitating you. So why don't you also imitate? When somebody also brings something which is more beneficial than yours, what do? You can also imitate the person. Do you understand? So imitating competitors might remove competitive advantage that the competitors currently enjoy. 3, prevent a competitor gaining a strong initial position by responding quickly. Always, you must respond quickly. Okay. 4, you can concentrate on small market segments that might be overlooked by competitors. So now, if let's say you go online now, everybody is just concerned about, they are all in the money making niche, because that's where YouTube will pay you a lot of money, or that's where if you are blogging, you get a lot of money because it has a lot of traffic. But there are other small niches that you can focus on, right? That you can get money. So focus on small segments where people are not really looking at, right? That's how you do it. Now, unpredictability. Sometimes you can be unpredictable, okay, so that people cannot really copy you, right? So companies should continually strive for radical solutions. Be prepared to abandon current approaches and adopt a new one anytime, anyhow, anywhere, right? In some situations, it might be possible to compete by building alliances with some small competitors to compete with larger companies that are financially stronger and currently are the market leaders. So what are some of the strategies in hyper competition? Let's summarize them. You need to write them down because this thing has never been examined before. Maybe for the first time, who knows?
Okay.
It has never, ever been examined, but all the other ones have been examined, except this one. So who knows? So what are the first strategy? Introduce better products, right? Introduce better products with what? Shorter what? Shorter
product lifestyle. Life cycle.
Okay. 2, imitation, right? It's competitors. 3,
prevent the competitors from gaining strong initial position.
Strong position by competition.
Concentrate on small market segments that might overlook by competitors.
Market focus. Small segments, right? So we can concentrate on small segments. 5,
Predictability.
And then what? Collaboration, right? Strategic
Sure.
collaborations. Okay. So put this down, and then those are the various strategies that you need for competitive advantage. Now we have to look at various, we said what? Do collaborations. So now we are going to those collaborations that we said we have to do, right? Those collaborations that we said we have to do. So what are these collaborations? Let's look at these collaborations. Please, is everybody done? Are you done?
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. What about the rest? Are you done? So that we move. It seems nobody's responding. So let's move. Collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Section overview. I want you to write all these down, right? And these are the areas that students don't even bother to look at. And every night, there's 1 or 2 questions coming from here. Okay. So I think last 2 days, they brought shared management teams, and they brought another version of shared management teams last night, resource sharing, right? They even defined it for the students. They were not able to get the answer. I don't know how students learn nowadays. At our time, there are some things that are not even in the textbook, and then they just examine it. You have to use your mind. Please, if you are done, we move.
Okay.